Good morning, everyone. Leslie Myrick here, interior designer and business coach with Nancy Quinn. Today is Wednesday, and we are talking about money with Megan Dahle, specifically markup. And I love this topic because A, most people get really confused between markup and margin, and B, they don't understand what it is and why it's important and how to make it work, and that it's okay, not only okay, but essential to charge markup. So, good morning, Megan. I'm glad you're
Good
here.
morning. Oh, I'm happy to be here, Leslie. It's nice to see your face again.
Let's go. Let's talk.
Okay,
Interior
let's
design
do it.
markup explained. Tell us what
Oh
we
my
need to
gosh,
know.
I love this topic because everybody wants like a clear, straightforward answer. And so the first thing I want to talk about is the whole purpose of pricing correctly is so that you can make a profit, right? Can we agree on that? Can we set that foundation right
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're not making a profit, you don't have a business, you have a very expensive hobby.
Yes. Yes. And you are subsidizing other people's beautiful homes.
Ooh. Yeah.
What?
She said it. She said it. And it's true.
Okay, so let's not subsidize.
Okay.
So once you have an understanding that there are two things that people are kind of looking for. They're looking for a ceiling in their revenue and a floor in their revenue. They just don't know it. Many times I come across models of pricing where your floor, people look for the floor, like what's the least amount that I can charge? How can I compete on price? What is the bottom? And they
Yeah.
actually align their pricing with their expenses. So their pricing and their expenses are on this red line together.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense? Like I have enough revenue to cover my expenses.
Okay. And then we're barely scraping by.
Barely scraping by.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's okay, good. I can compete on price and still get by. I want you to first look at your expenses and see what is that minimum? And that's not the minimum of where you can set. That's the minimum of where you don't ever want to go below, because digging out is so much harder than having a profit in the first place.
Yeah. So you don't want to be at the floor, because if you dip below the floor, you are digging yourself out of a hole.
Yes, which
Okay.
means you need to know where your floor is.
Wow. So the floor would be like the bare minimum to cover your business expenses, payroll, overhead,
Yes.
all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Your
So
floor. I
once
like
we
that
know our
analogy.
floor, we can back into like, okay, I know where not to go. I know where this
Mhm.
bottom boundary is. So you're going to have a combination of design fees and procurement, and, right? Like, what are the things that you charge for? How does the revenue come in? Is it going to be commissions? Is it markup? And today we're specifically talking about markup. So if you have a tempo, you know what your clients' budgets generally are, right? And you know what your design fees for the contracts that you have, you know what your design fees are going to be. So my challenge to you is to plot out what is currently going on. Like if, okay, I know that my expenses to cover and pay myself and pay myself.
And pay yourself.
And pay myself. Let's say it's
emphasize that.
$10,000.
And I want to say that's part of your floor. Like, not paying yourself, you are then in that hole. If you're not able to take a reasonable salary, owner's draw, however you structure it, you're not making enough money.
Amen. Amen. Okay. So let's say your floor is $10,000. I need $10,000 a month to run my business. Now, there are those firms that are like, I'm going to cover this with my design fees, and then everything over that, I want my markup to be my profit. I'm not saying that's the way to do it. I'm just giving you an example.
Okay.
So we want to give our money a job before it even comes in the door. Coming in the door means that it's revenue. Okay. There are models where they make all of their money on markup. There are models where they make all of their money on design. When you, no wrong answer, but we need to accommodate for what is my capability currently in my model for design. What is my capability for the markup? What do I need each one for? The second part of markup is reputation wise, like put the income statement aside for now,
Okay.
but the habits that you're building in the marketplace of, well, oh, they give me their discount. That designer gives me a discount is doing a disservice to the industry as a whole.
Yes. And I want people to hear that your trade discount is not some cute little coupon code that you can pass through to your clients. This is proprietary information because you are acting as retailer. This is your money to make for being in this business. Passing on your discount undermines everyone in this industry. It's huge. This is a big issue, and people will do it because they try to compete on price. Well, I'll charge my design fee, but then I won't charge a markup. So then it's more fair. Like people have all their reasons, but please hear this. Passing along your markup is doing a disservice to you, your family, your revenue, and it truly undermines what we do in this industry.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. So with that in mind, let's actually talk about the math of the markup, shall we?
Yes, let's go. Because I know you're going to make this gentle and nice for all of us. Because I know people are going, I don't want to talk about the math of markups. So go, give us the math.
Okay. Let's start with you have a floor. Let's not put a ceiling on it.
Okay.
A floor. If your client has a budget in total, are you going to talk about the budget of the stuff and the outside services all as one encompassing? So this is option one,
Okay.
right? They have $100,000 budget outside of the design services. Now that's your responsibility to, one, know what you need and profit off of that and make that valuable. Like if your product costs you $50,000 and you're making a 50,000, if you're making 100% markup on it, there's no judgment there. That is what it is. And if that's what your customer finds value in, the way that you serve them with that service, that is okay to have 100% markup.
Absolutely.
If you are charging too small of a markup, if you're like redlining it with a 10% markup, your design fee better be pretty big in making up for that, because the amount of time and procurement and all of the other things that you have in that, as well as like the value proposition itself, the amount of value that people feel that they are getting is going to be hindered that way as well, right? Harm to the industry, harm to the value proposition. So we don't want to go to the other side of being, oh, it's just a little 10% markup.
Yeah. Nothing. You're right. It is nothing. And it's not enough. Full stop.
Yeah. And another thing that might want to cover, especially this is what I find when people charge a smaller markup, they also have a harder time charging for like, oh, shipping came in much higher than I thought it was going to be. Oh, those tariffs. I'm just going to have to eat that because I didn't have that conversation. Small markups are a cover up for hard conversations. It's like your avoidance mechanism for a hard conversation. Yeah. So we want to talk about money early. We want to talk about money often.
I say that all the time. Talk about money early and often. And it's uncomfortable. I want to be clear on that. It's not like, oh, I love this. It does get easier. But Megan, you're exactly right. You have to talk about money early and often with your clients. Money is not where anyone wants to be surprised in a design project ever. And it does happen. Don't get me wrong. Like there are tariffs and other issues and things. And if you have started that dialogue early and it's just a normal part of your design process, it's much less of an issue if something does need to be discussed.
Yeah, absolutely. And the next type of markup is if you wanted to, sorry, I was distracted because I forgot to hit go on Instagram because I always forget to hit go on Instagram. Oh, dang it. Okay. like have a system for it. Like on window treatments, I always do 80% markup. On accessories, I have a 25% markup. Have a system for it so you're not making those individual decisions on every project. Like, oh, what can I get away with on this one? What can I get away? No, this is our policy.
I like that policy thing. We teach to charge fair, commercially available retail prices. Basically, we recommend at or under retail. If you want to come in a little bit under, to be a bit more competitive, you can. But like, I love that you said 80% because like you shouldn't, 10% is not enough. You should be charging close to retail or retail when possible.
Yes.
Get the most markup on your products.
And okay, I'm going to talk about the math part a little bit.
Okay, math it up.
Multiplication. So when we are talking about markup, we're going to take your cost and we're going to multiply it times 1.8 in the percent of markup. 1.5 is a 50% markup.
Okay. So we're
Okay.
here now. We've gone product 1.5 times. That's your cost
Yep.
right now.
Product
Okay.
1.5 times. If it was product times 2, that's 100% markup because 1.0 plus 1.0 for 100% is a 2. So there's 50% markup. There's 100% markup. Okay. That's different than margin. If you had 100% margin, that means your item's free and you're making all margin on it.
Oh
Markup goes
yeah, that's a good way to, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're, margin, think of it almost like a reverse coupon. If you got a coupon that was 100% off, that'd be all of it.
Yeah, I
That's
have heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, but markup is related to your price and what's on top of it. Margin is
Mhm.
related to like the selling price and how far you come below it ish. I'm
Yes.
not, there's a
Yeah.
reason I'm a designer and not a
Yeah,
like,
you're
coach.
right on. Like, think of
Okay.
it like margin is what's on the income statement, and then you go see the cost of goods sold, and you do the little division, and it tells you what your margin percentage is. Yeah, your design is probably like 100% margin if you don't have any subcontractors that are helping you with
Mhm.
it. Right. So your margin is that difference between what you get and what you pay.
Yeah.
Markup is we're taking that cost and we're making sure that we have some profit
On
built
top
in
of
on top of it.
it. Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
That's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. So do we want to talk about the ceiling? Like, there is no ceiling. There is no ceiling. This is where your brand, your marketing, your relationship with your clients become very important because they
Mhm.
want you, right? They don't, you have built your brand, you have built your relationship so that they don't want Wayfair minus 10%.
Yep.
They want quality, full stop.
Yeah. When you're alluding to this, and I want to say it clearly because I believe this is true, your price is your brand. You can say you're a high-end designer, a luxury designer, but if you're charging Wayfair prices, there's a real disconnect. When you are charging up here, when you are marking up appropriately, that is part of your brand as a designer.
Yes, absolutely. And part of that is going to be reflected in how well cared for the client feels.
Mhm.
Like, she's going to take care of me. I trust her to do the right thing. I trust her to take care of her own business. I'm rooting for my designer. I want them to make a profit. I want them to do beautiful things in my home and make this as stress-free as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a floor. Don't go under your floor. Don't even match your floor. Don't match your floor.
No, don't sit on the floor, people.
Don't sit on
Not
the
a great
floor.
place to be.
Don't sit on the floor. And take those brave, bold steps of not only like being above the floor, but finding that spot that, oh, I'm going to test it here now. I'm going to test it here now. I'm going to see what the market will bear. Doesn't that sound a little bit threatening? Does that sound a little bit threatening?
It sounds exciting, and I think what I'm playing devil's advocate here. I think people are going to go, well, I need to see what other designers in my area are charging to know what the market will bear. How do you feel about
That
that?
sounds like that sounds like a what is this? A snake eating its own tail? That sounds like a trip to the bottom of the well. Like, let's go as far low as we can. Okay, some of my favorite clients do this.
Yeah.
They come with, I have $100,000 budget and $20,000 for design, $80,000. Like, clients like to know the whole budget.
Mhm.
Like, well, sure, it's going to be $100,000 renovation, and then my design fee on top of it is another. No, I want to spend
Yeah, they want the
$100,000
number.
on this
Designs.
project. Take out the design. I have $80,000 for this project. Some people like train their clients not to care about the nitty-gritty details.
Mhm.
These are all the items. You don't necessarily care that the rug itself is $11,000 of that because this is the right rug for you.
Yeah.
It's the right rug. Right? Like, part of your expertise is knowing where to spend the money and where to cut back.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So opening up the door to, well, here's the detailed invoice for those kitchen cabinets all the way down to the screws on the hardware. And here's the markup for each item. That's the door that you don't necessarily want to open.
Right.
Yeah. Did we cover it all?
I think so. I just want to talk about that a little bit more though, so people understand, like, so, if you have this is, and I love that you're saying this because I think a lot of designers feel like they must be completely transparent and show every cost of every item. And I can respect and appreciate that. However, sometimes when clients get caught in the weeds, get caught in the details, it can trip things up, even when the overall, like, they agreed to spend 80, you're coming in at 80, it should be fine. I learned this once on a project because I had specified this really cool floor lamp for a client, and relative to some other purchases, it was a little more expensive. It was a cool piece, kind of sculptural. It was the right lamp for the room. They looked, and we were under budget for the whole project. They looked at that and said, I don't know if we're comfortable paying that for a lamp. Could you see what else you could find? Of course, revisions are part of our process. I was happy to do it. In my mind, I was like, that's the right lamp, y'all. And I found a couple other options. They were not nearly as cool. They just were meh. And inevitably, we went back to the client, said, yeah, okay, we'll do that one. But it was a waste of time and energy and all the things. And it delayed getting things ordered because they got hung up on that one little price.
Yeah.
So I absolutely see what you're saying. And by contrast, I sometimes get hyper detailed, and I think a lot of designers do, where they want to have every nickel and dime taken care of. I had a project with a contractor recently, and his quote was a text to me, and he's like, everything for the kitchen and living room, $110,000. I was like, okie dokie. Like, that was my quote. It was a quickie text with a huge ass number and no detail. And the client was fine with it and engaged that. He's a great contractor, but it was just so wild how we feel like somehow we can't do that in this industry. And yet I see it every day in our sister industries where people are just like, it's going to be $100,000. Are we doing this or not? Whereas we're like, well, the hardware, like these cabinet pulls are $475 each. I think I could probably find some for $450. Like, we get so little thinking where you got 80,000 to spend. We're in that 80,000. Let's go. And that's such a different client and different mindset than, I don't want to say you don't want to be concerned with the details, because of course we do, but how you present it matters and is part of your brand. And you don't have to disclose, you should not disclose your trade pricing, what your markup is. That's proprietary information. If the client gave you an investment and you are in there and everyone's on board, that is transparency. Here's what you get. Here's what it's going to cost you. Are we good?
Yeah.
Mic drop. I feel very passionate about this, Megan, if you couldn't tell.
Absolutely. As you should. As you should. I mean, the discussions like this are what elevate the entire industry, right? Like, let's stop scrambling for the pennies at the bottom because we need them so badly.
Yeah.
That's a hard place to be.
Yep. Get off the floor. If you're here and you're just barely making it month to month, something's got to change. And if you are trying to compete with designers around you, if you are not offering exemplary service, then you need to up your service game and up your rates and get off the floor and earn more money. This is a tough job with a lot of moving parts. We are involved in our clients' marriages, in their money. We are in their most intimate spaces. This is a profession that should be compensated well for the expertise and the experience we bring. Get off the floor. That's all I'm gonna say. Get your ass off that floor.
So that's my one takeaway for you today, is to learn your floor.
Yeah. Learn your
floor. Don't price to meet it, price to beat it.
I love it. And if you're going, but how do I figure out my floor? I am on the floor. I'm underground. I'm in the basement. Help me. MeganDahle.com is Megan's website. She is phenomenal to work with. And as you can tell, very gentle and unscary when it comes to numbers, which I appreciate. And I know the designers in Nancy's world appreciate as well, because you make this very visual and engaging, which I think is just awesome, because there's a reason we end up on the floor. It's because we're afraid to look at this and talk about it. So yeah. Megan's here for you. Get off the floor, get a really nice chair with that profit, and sit in that chair and run your business like a boss.
Such a nice comfy chair.
Yes, a nice comfy chair. Megan, thank you so much. You will be back next month, and I love hearing your money topics. So have a good month, everyone, and we will see you later. Have a good one.
You too.